This graph shows popular players' first Counter-Strike tournament. In the bottom left, you have players like Tarek, who had pretty bad stats and whose team didn't make it that far.
God help me! God help!
In the middle, you have players who had pretty good debut events, and players like Zai Wu were able to make it far with their team, while Simple and Hellraisers, not so much.
Because Hellraisers was better.
Then there are the standouts like Frozen and Magisk, who actually had their highest ever rating at their debut tournament, with a wild 1.3 and 1.43 rating respectively. Oh, and I almost forgot, there's one more player I need to add onto this graph. That's Donk with a redonkulous 1.7 rating at his debut tournament. This isn't just by far the best rookie of all time. This might be one of the best Counter-Strike tournaments of all time, full stop. Apparently the only thing he whiffs on is his signature. I mean, seriously, what is that, Donk? What the hell is that? So let's look at what makes Donk special. The thing that stood out most to me about Donk was his movement. And not just because it felt like he was constantly on the move and jiggling angles, but also the small ways in which he manipulates his movement to make himself so hard to hit. This one against Rops is the best example, where he crouches back, which he loves to do, but crouches back behind this wall. So even when he gets dinked by Rops here, the headshot is through the wall, it doesn't kill him, and then he just slides slightly out back into the open to get an easy spray down. That must be so annoying to play against. Here in this round, a similar story. He's very decisive on this push through the smoke after Shiro gets the kill, which is great to see. Gets him onto a really annoying angle. And yet again, this constant crouch spam just makes it so hard for these pro players to actually just headshot and trade him easily. Here in this one, again at long range, constant crouch spam. So even if his opponent's aim is really good, they've got to react very quickly to try and track his head up and down. You could almost call him a crouch spam abuser at this point. And then there were the more standard pieces of movement, like constantly jiggling back and forth on angles so that he could maybe catch a glimpse of a player like here and then go back for a really easy strafe and pre-aim, which is something he's very good at, and allows him to know when this flash is coming so he can double down easily. Or similar story here where he's holding a tighter angle, occasionally peeking out wider to try and get the drop on his opponent, which is exactly what happens here. And you'll just see him constantly moving around, constantly looking for little strafes and jiggles and peaks like this. And he also lands a nice shot here too, which brings us nicely onto his aim. I think the thing that surprised me most about Donk's aim is the amount he relied on sprays rather than quick, snappy kills. This is just really solid tracking, nothing too crazy, but shows you an idea. Here he's able to get a pretty nice pre-aim on the first player because of the information his teammate gets him, but then the second spray is actually a little off initially, and yet he's still able to adjust and recover it. And I think it's the consistency of these sprays which was most impressive in moments like this. And you'd also often notice, like here, the initial pre-aim is going to be for a headshot. The second one this time is actually a headshot on the spray transfer, which is much rarer. But he will often go for this third kill where he just transfers the spray to the body. After he gets one kill, he's more than happy to spray to the body because that's the easiest target to hit. He showed some really good patience on this Heaven play, waiting in this smoke for a hell of a long time, and again, has a pretty good idea where the first player is. Easy headshot, and then transfers straight into that second spray. It gets a little unlucky he doesn't get a chance in that final fight. And again, in this last one, coming in from main, it's really hard to know exactly where players are positioned, so the pre-aim for the headshot isn't there, and he's able to just transfer it into two very, very good sprays. And it's hard to really show how much this stands out, because it's just how consistently he will always get these sprays, which is most impressive. Let's not get it twisted though, Donk wasn't just a spray abuser. He would hit headshots too. Again though, it was when he knew where players were that he would pre-aim for these headshots much more consistently. Here on the rotate in, he's only looking at Squeaky initially because that's the only angle he has to be scared of. And then on that first fight, he caught a glimpse of Rops down below, so pretty easy for him to, again, pre-aim pretty much perfectly and get another easy kill on a headshot. You would maybe see slightly more of this snappy aim in pistol rounds here, for example. He's actually holding the wrong side of the box, but knows he has to flick across for the headshot and hits it. But then again, on this second kill, it's just back to being at the right headshot height, knowing where the player is, and just nailing that shot at the right time. Oh, and as this round goes on, I love the awareness from Donk. Once he's snuck already somewhat close to Hut and a player peeks Squeaky and sees his teammate behind, he knows instantly he needs to pounce quickly on towards that A site, as that player won't expect him to be so far forward, allows him this bomb plant, and even though he misses a few shots initially, this is still an example of that pre-aim being very good for the first kill. It's just such a shame he doesn't get a chance in that following fight. The thing that really surprised me is I expected to see quite a few more shots like this, which is quite a snappy headshot and a nice flick. That's what I expect out of newer players, but Even in this round as we go on, Donk just goes back to his classic, okay, I'm holding it headshot high, I know where this guy is coming from, and that just makes it so easy for him. I think this round is a great example of it, rotating down, helping his teammates at the right time, even uses the new mechanic to wipe the smoke, and it's just that extended spray to the body after he catches a glimpse, which is what gets him these kills. And it's definitely worth touching on the smoke thing, because Donk seems to be very good at playing around smokes with some of the new mechanics. Here against the standard yard smokes, it's just so easy for Donk to get the timing right on the spray into these smokes. And I'd love to know if this is something he's nerding out on and looking up and trying to get the times exactly right, or if this is just instinctual for him, because it's crazy how he just nails both of these kills through the smoke, and it literally ruins FaZe's round straight away. And FaZe tried a couple of aggressive opening moves with smokes early. Here in this one, Donk's just going to go ahead and smoke the molly that's been put into Playground. Makes FaZe think that he might have gone there, but instead, he's actually waiting because it seems like he knows this CT smoke has been put for an aggressive play behind it. And again, the timing is just perfect from Donk to completely destroy this play. Finally, another example on Nuke where, again, he knows there's an aggressive play coming with this early utility. FaZe tried a couple of these early aggressive plays, and Donk was always ready for them. And so, the fact that you can't seem to run these aggressive plays against him because he just seems to get the perfect timing on these sprays into the smoke must be really hard to game plan around this guy. Oh, and he even gets a second kill here, just for fun. That in-game intelligence and overall view of what's happening on the map was also really impressive from Donk. Here, he's playing a little forward in bathrooms, getting early info. Shiro even flashes him into long, and that just gives that little bit of buffer time where they know it's not going to be A, so Shiro can already start rotating down to B, and it's because of this early info that Shiro is at B in time to get these 2 kills and confirm the round. Even when Donk's doing nothing, he's doing something to help his team. Here's an example where he himself is playing forward initially, and he starts to lean into this rotation, but he always stays close enough where if it is a late A play, he could come back and help, but instead it just means he's slightly faster on this rotation down, and you can see just how quickly he gets here. His teammates do a good job at delaying, and he ends up getting 2 really impressive kills. That second one especially is lovely. Then here on the pistol, pretty standard. He knows that his 2 teammates are on the site. Shiro gets an initial kill towards Squeaky, but it's still really good to know that Donk knows he just needs to lock down Squeaky here to let his 2 teammates play crossfire on the site. And once he gets this kill, he's just so quick at transitioning back to Hut after Squeaky is cleared. And that means even though his teammate's crossfire actually kind of goes wrong, he's at least here to clean up this important second kill. And then this one shows some intelligence and ability to play with his teammates. He's playing for info, looking like he's here alone as he tries to just drop back to the bomb site and, in theory, buy time for a rotate. But actually, Zontix is here the whole time, and I love this angle that Donk takes. It's just maybe slightly wider than you'd expect. You can see the FaZe players are actually looking elsewhere. They're clearing other angles here, so it's a really nice off angle from Donk. But it also looks like one where he might be setting up for trade kills to come from that right side of ramp. So that's exactly where FaZe end up looking with low time left, and it means that Zontix either could have played a little further forward if he really wanted to try and get a crossfire going, or he can just hide up top as he does, and FaZe never even clear him. Let's end by looking at how he does work with his teammates so well. Here in this pistol round, he got tagged down to 35 health early, so he's just playing for info at long. Once he hears they're coming from long, he tucks back so quickly and so smartly into this little flower pot position. Not only is this at a headshot high angle, so he's making himself harder to hit when he's low on health, but he can also just work with his teammates who have the bathroom side covered, and that means they aren't really able to aim at him. He's just able to get some nice, easy kills because there are too many players to look at. Here in this one, pretty standard, but I just feel like his synergy with Shiro is so good. You see how they swing at a similar time here, and from Brokey's POV, there is literally nothing he can do when you get double swung like this. Here in this one, on a retake on B, his teammate Chopper gets the info early, and Donk again waits because he knows his teammate's got a molly, which is going to come in, and it's just going to make it so much easier for these kills to come through. And again, the swings at the same time were so good for Spirit throughout. And then finally on T side, the patience he'd have on some trades was really impressive. He'd often be second in here through Hut, and instead of just really trying to force this first trade, he waits for the player to drop down, makes it easy, and then he doesn't get too eager to try and trade towards Squeaky. He knows there's a decent chance a rotate will have come in from heaven, so he just holds, waits for that kill, and then gets a third with some exquisite aim. That was my breakdown on Donk, but if you want to see what makes ZywOo so special, click that link now, and also subscribe if you enjoyed.